You're listening to Cinematic Adventures, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Badges? We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
You make me want to be a better man.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
He's looking at you, kid.
I've always depended on the kindness of strangers.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Would you be shocked if I put on something more comfortable?
You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cinematic Adventures. If you're listening to us on the go, you can listen to us at Podbean, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, or Spotify. So any of those four, you'll be able to catch our podcasts, all of them that are all there for you to listen to. Please listen in and download some more for us as we are looking to expand our audience. As always, I am Sean. I'm happy to be here as with my partner in crime, Paul. Paul, how you doing?
Hi, Sean. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as always. And 3 straight weeks in a row, we are joined by Melanie.
Hi, guys.
Very happy to have you here as always.
Glad to be here.
Awesome.
From Bibliophiles Assemble.
On Instagram, check me out.
There you go.
Like, comment, subscribe, share things. Shameless plugs.
You're good at them, though.
I was just sitting here quietly.
That's fine. I appreciate the plugs. Because if it was up to me, I would never remember to do those.
You wrote them down?
I did?
I think so.
Well, see?
It just
You're
says
there.
podcast better, you can do it. Just a list of positive affirmations.
Just some affirmations.
There we go. Well, we are continuing our Mel Brooks month here at Cinematic Adventures. We've done Robin Hood Men in Tights. We've done History of the World Part 1. And we are doing today what some consider, not everybody, but some consider to be his greatest film, and that is the 1974 classic Young Frankenstein. So I'm very excited about this because, this is one of my favorites. I know Paul and Melanie just watched this recently, a couple days ago, for the first time in a while.
First time in a while.
First time. No. But you guys wanted to refresh yourselves with this movie. Mm-hmm. But because I know it's not up there like Robin Hood and Spaceballs. But what'd you guys think?
It's better with wine.
Really?
Like, it was good without wine,
But anything funny is good with intoxication.
Well, it's really funny because even a nice roll in the hay was better.
Oh, I love rolling the hays.
Yeah, I mean, I could just roll in the hay all night.
There you go.
Roll into hay.
Melanie, what'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I think the first time, like most movies that I've watched with you guys for the first time, I watched this one and then I fell asleep the first time I watched it with you, back at the old Kent house. And then watching it again recently, a week ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
About a week ago. Yeah. Watched it in its entirety, and I was telling you guys before, I was pleasantly surprised by it. The first time I was a little sleepy, probably a little bit too intoxicated, and I fell asleep. So this time around, it was just really great. I love Gene Wilder. I think that he was a fantastic actor, and it was nice to see him doing something different from me, just because I used to see him in, obviously, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is one of his more famous roles.
Classic.
It was
Johnny Depp was
really
great in it.
We're not going to talk about that one. That movie doesn't exist for me.
See, it's to the point where if I hear someone defends that movie to me, I just won't talk to him. because I don't know how you defend that.
Is that
movie.
all it takes?
You don't.
That's how I can just get you to stop talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
All right.
I know you would never do that.
I'm going to keep that in my pocket, though, for a bad night.
See, I know no. See,
Yeah,
I know you're lying.
yeah,
'cause I know you
don't.
despise that movie just as much as I do.
Yeah, you don't like the Oompa Loompas.
I don't like Oompa Loompas to begin with. They're creepy.
Going to see a school play of Willy Wonka.
They were worse.
Oh, God.
They were worse.
They were like
they
faceless
were,
masks.
They were like little Phantom of the Operas. They chose the
Ooh.
weirdest pack.
Yeah.
Well,
See, thank you.
There it is. Yeah.
I didn't
Listen,
say
they
anything
picked
else.
some weird shows to put on, including Night of the Living Dead, which though they did a
that
good
one
job.
was pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
They did a good job with that.
That's
I like
that's
that.
an interesting choice.
But yeah, the Willy Wonka one was a tough one to sit through. That was a tough one to sit through.
yeah.
But getting back to the movie in question, for me, the reason why this is so high on my list, A, it's absolutely hysterical, but B, I am just such a huge fan of the old classic movie monsters of the 30s and 40s, and this movie is a direct spoof of the 1930s Frankenstein films. So that's why this movie just sits well.
Frank.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering where Dracula was.
No.
He's in Dracula Dead and loving it.
Oh,
There
my
it is.
God. I would have loved to see those two fight.
Leslie Nielsen versus Peter Boyle.
Yeah.
Ugh, that would have been a weird one.
Yeah.
No, just
Now,
that-
Peter Boyle as the monster, or Peter Boyle like, not now because he's been dead for 10 years, but, old Peter Boyle.
well, technically
versus-
the monster was dead, too. So, I mean, like,
It's very true.
Fair enough.
too soon?
Your logic is sound, sir.
For once. Because
No,
nobody dropped my brain when it was in a glass jar and it needed to be put into a monster.
There you go.
But, no, the monster, like, that would have been a fun little
That would've been
crossover
funny.
event.
That would have been funny. Little,
Like
nod
Leslie
back
Nielsen's
to
batch flies by the window. He's in there reading the paper. Yeah.
the little nod back to the Monster Mash movies of the
Yeah.
40s, with you have all the different monsters in them and stuff.
And then Abbott and Costello come in,
That'd been
and
funny.
just kick everybody's butt.
See, this is why I'm friends with you, sir.
Oh yeah, no, because I just go by the posters that you have hanging up. That's how I do my references.
There you go.
Yeah, that.
You know me well.
Unfortunately, my posters are Superman or Captain America. So take your pick.
Who's Superman?
You get out of my house. You leave now, sir.
Where's
It's-
your John Walker poster?
You know what? I'm gonna do a blog about how much I like John Walker.
Okay.
And how underrated John Walker is. Melanie hates John Walker.
He's not.
Yeah,
That-
but I'm not here to talk about John Walker.
See, that's next. That's the other podcast.
Yeah, that's next week.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Next week.
All right.
Multiverse Fancast. Look it up.
So,
Well, Sean, I have a question
yes.
for you.
It's pronounced Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
That was her question.
So, no, it wasn't actually.
Oh,
Close though.
dang it.
So, do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
I remember I don't remember the very first time I sat down and watched it. I just remember it existed. Wow. What?
It
What?
existed. I
Well,
knew of
because
it. I knew of it. I've heard the legends.
Because again, I was introduced through Abbott and Costello and Frankenstein. That was the very first old movie I ever watched. And after seeing that movie and liking it, my dad's like, "Oh, there were other movies with just the monsters." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." So watching all those movies, my parents had this movie on VHS, and I remember coming across it and going like, "Oh, is this another monster movie?" And my dad's like, "It's like Abbott and Costello. It's funny and scary at the same time." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." So I remember watching it, and again, not really understanding what I was watching. I didn't notice the jokes as much when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I just remember liking it. My parents liked it, so I guess I got that from them. And then obviously finding out that Mel Brooks did other movies, you go on to watch his movies and then go back to this movie later on and you respect it even more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
See, for me, this movie was weird because I always I joked about knowing the legend of it. I think the first time I ever learned of this movie was from Spaceballs when they go through the movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, Young Frankenstein, what's that? I never watched it. And then it was until after Big Daddy.
Oh, when you
There's
see the
a scene where
yeah.
they show the rotating door, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of funny. What movie? And I don't remember who I was with, but they're like, oh, that's Young Frankenstein. I was like, oh, I should probably watch that. But it wasn't until I think you showed it to me for the first time.
Probably. I could imagine me doing that.
Yeah, right after Rocky Horror, and yeah.
I made you sit through Rocky Horror?
We were on vacation.
Oh, God, what is wrong with me?
Well, you don't sit through Rocky Horror. You are fully engaged if you're watching that movie.
Okay,
It's
sidebar.
It's
sidebar.
tough.
It was the only time that I had a bad movie experience with Sean.
Oh, is this the live?
Oh, he
performance
hated
that you
it.
guys
Oh,
were
God, I
talking-
hated it.
Oh, Sean hated it. It was rough.
I really
Audience
just
could like throw things. At the
Oh, yeah.
screen.
when a piece of bologna lands in my on top of my head, I was just like, really?
But you also
sounds
had
like
a
a
golden
movie right there.
opportunity to yell, "This is baloney," and walk out. Like,
The funny thing is, like, I just didn't expect it to actually be
like an interactive
like
thing.
that.
An
I've
interactive film?
seen all the clips of what Rocky Horror showings are like.
Mm-hmm.
Me thinking, oh, Carmel, New York, it's not going to be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
So it was just.
It's okay. Just
It's all right.
This is a safe space.
It didn't destroy my feelings on the movie. I still like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to do the time warp again.
Oh, I love the time warp.
Everybody loves the time warp.
Tim Curry, he's a legend too.
Oh, he's another one.
Yeah, it's all that anticipation.
Patient.
Really? You took it? You took that from me?
But that's what he says.
I was building up the antissa.
What were you waiting like an hour to say?
Patient.
I already
you
said
go.
it.
Legendary. There's gonna be a lot of breaks in this episode that I have to constantly like edit out.
Frau Blucher.
I wasn't ready. I hate you so much.
Why
Anyway,
would you say that, Paul? Those are strong words.
I hate you so much.
All right, well, let's get into the, I guess, the little background on this movie. So, it is 1974. Mel Brooks is in the process of making another classic, Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
So, it is while making that movie that Gene Wilder approached him and said, you know what, I have an idea for doing a spoof on the Frankenstein films.
It's kind of like how our podcast started. I have an idea on doing a spoof on podcasting.
We are a spoof. So,
I like to think satire.
so Gene Wilder proposed, what if the grandson of Dr. Frankenstein wants nothing to do with the family, but is somehow persuaded to come back into the family? And he's like, okay,
It's like The Godfather.
that's funny. And they obviously stretched it out and came up with this, brilliant film.
Brilliant film.
Brilliant film. So, the movie was released in 1974, same year as Blazing Saddles. Very hard to find another filmmaker who's had two hugely successful films come out in the same calendar year. And the only one I could think of was Spielberg with Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, both in 1993.
I like one of those movies. The other one insists upon itself.
Jurassic Park?
A little bit.
Okay.
Schindler's List.
So it is definitely impressive that he had both these movies back to back, and they're both on the AFI's top 100 comedies of all time list. I believe Young Frankenstein's number 13, and Blazing Saddles, I want to say, is in top 10. So
It's in your top 10.
well, it's in their top 10, but it's definitely in my top 10 too.
Well, I care about your top 10.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So we want to go into next.
Do you want to go through the cast?
We can do that.
Do you want me to go through the cast?
Let you, go for it,
Oh my
buddy.
god, what a day I'm having.
I know.
It's like, I'm so nervous.
You got a great nap in. You're
I did not get a great nap in. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway,
You got a nap in. That's still a good day.
the cat poked me in the head. So obviously, as we've mentioned more than once, Gene Wilder as Dr. Frederick Frankenstein. Frankenstein. And yeah, he's fantastic in it. He does a great job. I love his hair. I don't know what it is about Gene Wilder's hair. In Willy Wonka, I thought it was a wig. It wasn't until later on learning that that's just his natural do, and I love it. Any thoughts on Gene Wilder's Dr. Frederick Frankenstein?
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe when we go through the plot.
Yeah, we'll go through the cast first, and then we'll talk about everything else.
Oh yes, ma'am. We have Peter Boyle as the monster.
The monster.
The monster, because a lot of people.
There's no mispronunciation on that
It's
one.
the monster.
Monster.
Monstar. Now that'll be a movie next month.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah. So very good prosthetic work for him.
Yeah,
I enjoy.
They did. They of course. Little background: you couldn't copy the Boris Karloff
because that was
image.
Trademarked, but
that's the
the
thing.
character is actually public domain.
Character's public domain, but the makeup is trademarked. So that's why whenever you get a Frankenstein movie made that's not made at Universal, it's going to look much different. But I think this still stands out as a very good job because you're basically taking I mean, it's Peter Boyle in a Frankenstein makeup. You could see Peter Boyle in it. It's not totally, unrecognizable Peter Boyle. You get the bald head, you got the bolts and all that stuff.
Can you imagine what the casting call looked like? We're looking for a real Frankenstein-looking guy. Oh, hey, Peter.
It's weird because the backstory with this is all three of them, Gene Wilder, Peter Boyle, and Marty Feldman, were all represented by the same agent. And that agent pretty much proposed to Mel Brooks. It's like, I want to make a movie with all three of these guys. So it wasn't really like, oh, casting call for the monster. It's like, oh, Peter Boyle, your options are Igor or the monster. It's like, so it worked, thankfully.
I think it'd be really funny if they, going down the list, we have Marty Feldman as Igor or Igor.
It's pronounced Igor.
I think it would have been really funny to actually do an Igor type character, but he's like super jacked and just like really big and just handsome.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, I think
kind of like the whole Little John's thing,
Don't let my name. Yeah. In real life, I'm very big. I'll take your word for it.
Well, before we continue with the cast and everything, just to backtrack to the monster. So, fun fact, just like in the Frankenstein movie, just mixing it all up. The movie from 1931, the greenish face makeup was used on the monster to make his features more prominent in the black and white film. Just because his normal skin color, just regular makeup, wouldn't really work. It wouldn't portray well enough in a black and white film, so they had to go back and use that green makeup.
Yep. That's why when you ever see colored, colorized pictures of the sets from that movie, it's like, why is he green?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like, what was it, for George Reeves' Superman costume, the colors work very off so that they would actually pop
out in the black and white.
Or Psycho, they used chocolate syrup for the blood.
See, that's why I think black and white is just such a lost art.
It's funny you say that because on HBO Max right now, Zack Snyder's Justice League was re-released in black and white. The face he made. You can check
That's
out.
Not going to make it any better.
The Batman scenes were better.
Okay, fair enough.
Going down the list, we have Cloris Leachman as Frau Blucher.
You said it.
That was weird, but yes, Cloris Leachman.
Do you guys have a horse, or was that the cat?
That might have been the cat.
Was the cat.
Who knows at this point? But yeah, really fun character. You don't see her a lot in this movie, though.
No, she's like kind of like her role in History of the World Part 1. It's small, but she just pops off the screen whenever she's on it. Again, as we said in the History of the World Part 1 episode, Cloris Leachman is just a gem because, I mean, she'll just make you laugh no matter what.
I also like characters where you can't just say their first name.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody ever calls her Frau in this. It's Frau Blucher. It's really strange.
We should probably go check on the cat.
I don't know. I'm already getting tired doing that. So that's going to be the last one for the...
You guys feed him horse tranquilizers?
Sometimes you need to. That thing's... Yeah, he's crazy. That's why he's named after a demon. But
Just kidding, everybody. We really don't give our cat tranquilizers of any sort before anybody decides to give us any problems.
But you can still give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us, move up those rankings. But anyway, we have Terry Garr as Inga, who is famous for her love of rolling in the hay.
Would you like to have a roll into hay?
There's a lot of, infidelity in this movie.
Love it. No, I don't love it, but it's just funny.
The opinions of Sean on Cinematic Adventures do not reflect the opinions of the show.
I mean, he's not getting any from his... fiance.
So because her makeup was done and her hair was done, she was going to the party. She had the corset. Come on, it's a process.
It is a process.
It is a process. You should see us when we try to just go out for a burger. I take forever to get ready.
I know. It's the hair.
It's the hair. It's actually just stuck this way at this point.
Those gold tips, man.
I did not. I do not have gold tips. For those of you guys who don't know, you can also, if you don't believe me, check our Instagram. You can find pictures of me there. Misfit Faction or Bibliophiles Assemble. And then we have Kenneth Mars as Inspector Kemp.
I love him.
What do you love about Inspector Kemp?
It's just, again, it's a perfect spoof on the movie Son of Frankenstein. They had a police detective in there who, as a kid, his arm was pulled off by the monster, so he has a fake arm. But it just, again, you take that and you turn it into this, and just having the arm stuck in one position, puts it down, doing all that. It's comedy gold.
Led to one of the best games of darts I've ever seen. Oh. Yeah, when he runs over, he puts them all there.
It's like And he does the sound effect with his
Well, speaking of which, we have Mel Brooks as the voice of the werewolf and the voice of Cat Hit by Dart.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah. So
I didn't know he was the voice of the werewolf. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Neither
I
did
didn't know he was the voice of Victor
Cat?
Frankenstein when they hear him. When they first find the laboratory.
Cat?
The cat I knew.
Of course, you knew the cat. But that's really it for like the main cast.
You forgot.
Excuse me. Madeline Kahn as Elizabeth, who
was originally offered the role of Inga, but she decided on the Elizabeth role. She thought that was funnier. And Mel Brooks was like, "You do know she's only in the movie for 15 minutes," and she's like,
in the beginning and the end.
She's like, "I'm still good."
I still think one of her scenes the funniest when her and we're getting ahead in the story, when her and the monster become intimate and she starts like opera singing.
Oh, that's
and she has a great hairdo at the end.
True.
A little bit of an homage. Oh, and obviously we have a great cameo by Lex Luthor himself, Gene Hackman, as Harold, the blind man.
My name is Harold, and I live here all alone.
I've been so lonely. And that's the main cast. You got some other cast members, but for the most part, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
that was good.
Oh, thanks, man. But I'm just here to make your day a little bit better.
So I guess we'll go to the plot. Plot next.
Z-plot.
Z-plot. All right.
We're gonna mispronounce a lot of things just for the Frankenstein factor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna start calling that, the Frankenstein factor. Yeah. But the movie does open up with the shot of them opening the coffin.
Yes. See, this I don't know if you guys agree. I
don't agree, just for the sake of podcast discussion. Go ahead.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
The score, I think, for this movie was fantastic.
37-5.
You're hysterical, sir.
I woke up.
Like this?
Go back to sleep.
What? What was that? What?
He said, I woke up, and I said, like this.
Oh, that's funny.
Get it? Yeah.
No, I changed my shirt. My goal is also, because for the last 2 episodes, Sean has been trying to make me laugh throughout the entire thing. So
it's
now...
It's not been a goal. It's just...
You literally said out loud during the second one, I'm going to make Paul laugh as much as I can during this.
I don't know about that. I need proof I said that.
It's recorded.
You can do things with recordings nowadays that...
I can't even edit the podcast. I literally just put it on as is.
All right.
Every week I'm singing the intro and doing all the lines myself.
So about the score.
So Melanie's like, enough, guys.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know,
Melanie's
preparing
do a little banter.
She's preparing to do her own podcast coming soon to the Misfit Faction. She immediately looked away. But anyway.
So about these fun facts. Just kidding.
The score.
I'm not ready. The score of the movie.
I just think opening the score is... you don't know this is a comedy. Mm-hmm. You watching this movie from the beginning, just by listening to that music, the scene with the lightning and the that effect, the castle in the background, you're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be serious. This is I don't know whether to laugh or to be a little kind of scared right now with this music and stuff. And then obviously, as you said, the opening scene where you just get a little camera shot moving along the coffin. You're like, what's going on here? The coffin pops open and there's a rotted, Gene Wilder looking skeleton, laying there, and you just see hands come into the frame and pull what I don't know what.
It's a box.
I know it's a box,
yeah.
but pulls it and the
skeleton
skeleton is holding on to it.
Yeah,
because you can't pull. Apparently the skeleton is really strong.
I don't want to say that this might be morbid, but I really hope my funeral goes like this. Like, put me underneath.
But what are you holding?
Probably like. Something Superman related.
I was gonna say the Zack Snyder cut of
Justice League cut on Blu-ray, the PlayStation 5. No,
by that time I think it'll be a PlayStation 20.
You know what?
Probably.
That's probably fair. Thanks, man. I'm gonna live a long life.
Well, yeah.
PlayStation 20 comes out next year. Dang it! He knew
6 through 18.
The last thing I'm gonna see is Sean arriving at my house with the PlayStation 20. I got it for you. Whack. No. Oh, we said it in the podcast. Available on Podbean. You know what I really like about this movie? In the beginning, does it the wipeouts and the wipes and the fade to black, just cinematography.
They're very keen on making this feel like it was made back in the 30s or 40s. I forgot to ask you guys. I mean, obviously we went over the cast, but obviously in watching this recently, anybody stand out to you guys that just made you like the movie even more?
Not for me, no. I mean, because for me, it's always been the main cast that kind of seals it. Mel Brooks is also very good at like funny supporting cast moments. Like, we talked about Robin Hood Men in Tights and Lend Me Your Ears. Like that whole scene. Like they do a good job with stuff like that. But really nothing jumped out at me. I still love Igor. He's probably my favorite in the movie.
There you go.
that doofy smile he does every time something happens, and he's just like, And the hump.
What hump?
It's next to his mole. I have a mole.
Wrong movie.
Right director.
I would agree. I think Mel Brooks definitely makes a point to have everybody kind of have their moment to shine in the movie. But I'm sure also with this cast, like with every other movie that he's made, there are a lot of ad libs that just make it that much more funny. But I would agree. Igor is my favorite.
Horatio is his actual name. He was
Marty Feldman is.
Marty.
I mean, he's sadly, he passed away back in the 80s, but this movie is like legacy for him because I just think he is fantastic in it. It just his perfect casting for that role. He's not trying to be a total copy of like the Igor character. He's just basically being Marty Feldman with a hump, and that's just what's funny about it to me. He's not trying to really overact or anything like that. It's just his humor works perfectly for that.
Yeah, no, and like I said, it's like the little things, like his little smile, like after he says, the Front Blucher, I'm not doing it again, but and he's just like, ha.
And I don't want to make light of of what he was going through, but I mean, the whole situation he has with his eyes just adds to the character as well. I mean, it works because you can't tell if this guy's crazy or just whatever.
What hump?
I like when they walk down the stairs after Dr. Frankenstein gets to the estate and. He gives him his cane, and he's like, So then he has to walk down the stairs.
I think that's the first walk. That's the first walk this way joke of the Mel Brooks movie. Yeah.
Which one's the best?
Wow.
You got History of the World.
History of the World, Robin Hood,
and
Young Frankenstein. I don't believe.
That's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I personally think Robin. I think just because Robin Hood was the first one I saw.
Yeah, I think and again, it's gonna sound like I'm I like this. I like this one just because I think because Gene Wilder reacts to it. He actually is like he's doing it, and he's like, why am I doing this?
They do react in Robin Hood Men in Tights. They're like,
True, very true. They do the. They all look at each other going, okay.
Throw the hand up and just walk with the poise.
But it's that moment like. This is a pretty creepy scene when he arrives at the train station. I know we'll get to it a little later, and then all of a sudden it's like, walk this way, and you're like, that's funny.
I get it. What about you, Melanie? Favorite walk this way?
I like History of the World Part 1 because they all do the hair flip, and they have to like stop and do it, and even Mel Brooks and Gregory Hines, they have to do it too. So like that just always got me because I was like,
they're all different in their own way, and I think and yes, the joke in its whole is fun, is the same, but. The situation that it's happening in is different in every movie.
It reminds me of in the Shaun of the Dead trilogy movies.
Oh, with the
fences and how
that was always great.
Even in the World's End where they kind of just end it, where he tries to jump out and they all fall, like that. It's just I like stuff like that, and the thing that really sells it, of course, is the actors. We were talking before we started recording about Mortal Kombat coming out, and then we were talking about Street Fighter, the old one, and one of the things I said was Raul Julia kills it in the role. Because he gives it 100%. Like he's one of those actors, and he would have been great in a Mel Brooks movie.
He would have been.
Yeah. So
I mean, he would have been great. He honestly was a great actor. He was great in everything he did.
Yeah, because he gave it. He always knew if he was in a project where he needed to ham it up. He's like, well,
Gomez Adams,
you're gonna get the king of hams, like the swine king here. Like, and I think that says a lot about actors. Like we get so many movies where you can just tell the actors are phoning it in, like Jennifer Lawrence in the last X-Men movie she was in. Like it was painful to watch.
She's definitely not. I mean, she was like so like up there for like a good 2-3 years, and now it's like you don't hear about her anymore.
does she have to do? Like,
well, I mean, it's just saying, if you like your craft, continue to make movies, but it just doesn't. I haven't seen her in anything.
And that's the thing about an actor like Mel Brooks. He likes to reuse his actors, but that's different than franchise fatigue. You get a lot of these actors who sign up for these big because that's the new thing, the big thing right now, franchise. And they're like, all right, well, you're going to do 7 movies. I mean, Chris Evans turned down Captain America like 4 times because he didn't want to do.
I remember that.
They lock you in.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson didn't want to do Quicksilver because he didn't want to be tied down. And I guess Joss Whedon was like, I got an idea about that. But I really like when they use because they build a rapport. They know how each other work. This is Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder did 2? 3. 3?
3. This is their third and actual final movie together, sadly.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty much after this that Mel Brooks realized that he could basically star in all his movies, and which, as we've determined, didn't do any harm to his movies. He's a comedy legend, but I think Gene Wilder adds something to all 3 movies that he's in. He's just he's not a genuine comedian. He's a very, very classically trained actor who is just very good at comedy. It's kind of like the whole, airplane movies. They didn't hire comedians. They hired
like
classically trained actors from the 50s who, might have been a little down on their luck, and they're saying these lines so seriously, but it's hilarious. That to me, sometimes that is more genuine comedy than a stand-up comedian in a movie or something like that.
You know what? I think there's that unexpected factor. Like if I see Kevin Hart in a movie, I know he's going to be loud and very quick and funny.
Yeah.
This is what I know, and I like Kevin Hart. That's not a dig against Kevin Hart, but and then you flip it like on like a who's a good example? Like a Jason Statham.
Yeah.
He's going to act a certain way.
But he also can be funny.
He can be, and that's why it's always pleasant.
You know who was a pleasant surprise turning to comedy? Vince Vaughn.
Remember
when Old School came out, it was like Vince Vaughn in a comedy? Because he had just done that movie Domestic Disturbance with John Travolta.
Oh God,
he plays like the bad guy. He played Norman Bates in the Let's Not Talk About It Psycho remake, and he was hilarious in that movie. Not Psycho. Well, that actually was kind of hilarious, that movie. But in Old School, he was hilarious. And then he would go on, and that became his career. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you just you find lightning in a bottle, and you don't want to and it works. So, alrighty then.
All right, back to the plot.
So,
Dr. Frederick Frankenstein is lecturing. He's a lecturing physician at an American medical school. Did they ever say the school? I don't think so.
No, they really never go into that.
He's engaged to a woman named Elizabeth, who's a socialite, and he's doing a lecture about brain stimulation.
Yes.
Give him an extra $1.
With the Mr. Hilltop here, who I've never worked.
And they
I never knew what was going on when I was a kid watching that. I never understood. I got the funny parts of it, like with him kneeling him into the junk.
Yeah,
that was funny. But the whole when he puts the thing on his neck, I never understood what that was doing to the guy, because I was like, why is the guy just standing there? Why is he not reacting?
He can't move.
His eyes, and you could tell he's just in absolute pain.
Oh yeah. But he got an extra $1.
He did get an extra $1.
Yeah. So it's a lecture type setup where people keep asking him about the experiments of is it his great-grandfather?
I think it's supposed to be his grandfather.
Okay. The infamous Dr. Victor Frankenstein.
Well, you get the student gets up and he goes, I have a question, Dr. Frankenstein. And then we get that iconic
it's
where he
pronounced
just straight, not even a hitch of laughter. He just says it straight. It's pronounced Frankenstein. I wish I could have been in the theater the first time that happened, because I'm sure the entire audience was just like, what?
Am I in the right movie?
Because he says it so seriously. It's just, it's comedy classic.
Yeah. So
I think your house is haunted.
I think our house is haunted as well.
It's probably the cat.
It's probably the cat.
So it's haunted.
A couple of horses just suddenly drop down.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's informed that I believe he's informed that his grandfather's passed away and that the entire estate is left to him in Transylvania. I mean, his great-grandfather, excuse me.
Oh, great-grandfather?
Yeah.
All right.
The Baron Buford von Frankenstein. So his grandfather...
Frankenstein.
I see. I'm gonna mess this up now.
I know.
But,
Don't worry, I'm here to correct
Victor
you.
Frankenstein is his grandfather,
Yeah.
but he's getting the inheritance of the Baron. That's what I'm gonna call him, the Baron.
The
so
Baron. Sounds
Frederick,
like a G.I. Joe name or something.
well, there was the Baroness.
Oh, that's what it was.
There it is. But yeah. So he travels to Europe to inspect the property, and we get the scene with his fiance leaving, and it's just like
It's like, I'll count the hours while you're away.
he's like, just love me, please. And she's like, no, I just did my makeup and my hair and my nails and my pants. You know, can't
This
do that.
outfit, it's just very, very delicate.
It's very delicate.
Very delicate.
It's, what is it? The 1900s.
And they do the whole the shoulder to shoulder thing, which
yeah, this was pre-COVID. They were getting ready. But so at a Transylvania train station, he's met by.
Well, did you guys catch the whole? While he's on the train, you get the the same scene, just now with the language difference. The conductor's the same. The two people behind are the same.
It's all just done again.
And it's the same conversation in I'm guessing. I don't know if it was gibberish or if it was actual, Hungarian or Transylvanian. I don't know what the language Transylvania is actually.
Transylvanian.
I don't know if that's a thing.
It's blah.
Blah blah. I never said that. Blah blah blah. But I always found that funny.
One. But anyway, so he's met by a hunchback servant named Igor. He is named Igor.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
I'm not there yet. I was going to say it. And a young assistant named Inga. And upon hearing that the professor pronounces his name as Frankenstein, Igor insists that his name's actually pronounced Igor.
You're putting me on.
So I'm trying really hard to make it through this without laughing the entire time. So we get them traveling through the forest and
rolling the hay.
Roll in the
I
hay.
always the scene where they're on the cart and the werewolf, the sound of the werewolf in the background, and she's like, werewolves, and then Igor's just like, they're wolf, they're castle. And he goes, why are you talking that way? I thought you wanted me to. I don't want you. Suit yourself. I'm easy.
Igor is the highlight of this movie.
It really
I'll
is.
say it.
And then he just stopped and goes, there it is, home. And then you get that great match shot of the castle, like way up on the mountain. And I love that stuff. I love when you get like great match shots of like, that type of thing.
Supernatural did it better.
Really?
Remember that episode, the monster episode in black and white?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's a good one. But anyway, so upon arrival at the estate, they meet the housekeeper, Frau Blucher. This was so strange. So, so they get into the house, and she, Miss Blucher, Frau. I'm just gonna say Frau, so the horses keep it down.
Because if you say Blucher, they'll still.
Yeah, you got.
Say.
I was not prepared.
It's all right.
And I'm not editing them in each time.
Okay, man. I'm not. I'm just.
This is why we need a soundboard. So I can just.
I know, but it's still funny. You actually, the fact that you did it as many times as you did, I'm quite impressed. I'm it worked.
Maybe I'll actually re-listen to this episode and actually put them in, and then it'll just be conversations about. Oh man, I can't believe you were going to put all these in. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the subtle jokes is when she doesn't light the candles, and she's like, "Follow the candles. The light, the staircase can be treacherous."
Yeah. Melanie pointed it out while we were watching it that she's like, the candles aren't lit. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
I would say the same thing as a kid. I'm like, but the candles aren't lit. My dad's like, that's the joke, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Now I get it.
Because they're doing it, it's like, and they just look at each other going like, is she for real?
Yep. So she shows Frederick to his room, and apparently it was the Baron's room, and we get probably one of the most creepy shots in the entire movie, where she, first she asks if he wants any Ovaltine.
No, warm milk.
Warm milk?
Ovaltine.
So weird. But anyway, and in the mirror, he sees her making out with the picture of his great grandfather.
And his reaction is great. It's just his mouth is like, what? What is that?
I like to think that a lot of this was just like, just do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because ad-libbing is not just, or improv isn't just, the lines. It's just the, it's the
knowing the
action.
situation you're in. And, yeah.
Oh,
See, this next scene always kind of creeped me out as a kid. If you're like, can you imagine being in a castle and then just hearing this creepy music coming from somewhere,
Yeah. Ugh.
I would just be like, yeah, I'm not getting out of bed. I'm not going to search for that. No.
Yeah, give me the shotgun, please. But yeah. So
we get the most probably, I'd say probably most famous.
Between this and the music and the musical number at the end, it's probably the most iconic scene.
Yeah.
But so Inga comes in. Is her shirt still undone? And he tells her to button it up afterwards. She comes in with her shirt undone.
No, it's before they're about to go into the tunnel.
And he says,
button up or something like that. He
weird.
goes, you were having a nightmare.
He's like laying there, Frankenstein, destiny. God, imagine if that's how a normal person just slept.
Oh.
She just takes up the bed. But anyway, who? So she comes in, she wakes him up, and they hear the music playing, and they determine that it's from a nearby bookshelf.
Behind the bookcase.
Most impractical way of opening a secret passage.
Seems louder over here. Hand me that candle.
And put the candle back.
All right. I think I have it figured out now. Take out the candle.
And push as hard as you can.
I'll block the bookcase with my body. And you see it. And you see him kind of like go to block it. You just hear it.
The crunch.
And her face sells it. She's like, oh. And then you get the, listen to me very carefully. Don't put the candle back. And then she pushes, and then he's like, oh, I'm free, thank God. And then you hear her going, put the candle back.
You know what we really need to do at some point? We need to have like the movie ready, so when these scenes come around, instead of us just butchering them, we actually just play them and let everybody listen.
It's not a horrible idea.
Or next week when we do our Spaceballs episode, you just enjoy me and Sean for that one. Oh, God. Yeah, Melanie's
next week is not Spaceballs.
I know. I tried to recant.
That's fine.
It's fine. I'm just gonna edit it out. Now everybody's gonna be confused.
Don't have to recant. Don't worry about it.
I did though.
I don't think anyone's gonna be confused.
I'm confused.
Well, that's not hard.
Well, because my hump keeps moving. But anyway.
Hump?
So they find the secret passageway, and it leads to the grandfather's laboratory.
Oh no! But this is my favorite scene in the entire movie. Sorry. They're coming down the staircase again. Creepy music playing, lightning in the background, thunder. They come to the doorknob breaks in his hand, opens it up, and then they're in. I don't know what the room is supposed to be. It's not the laboratory yet, but it's like the room leading into the laboratory.
The foyer.
Okay, that's good. And you see the skulls. It's like 2 years dead, 6 months dead, and then you get, you see Marty Feldman. I can't do it because I'll laugh while I'm doing it.
Come on, you can do it. I believe in you.
Nah, I can't do it.
Oh, fine.
It's like, hey!
Nailed it.
Ain't got nobody.
Yep.
And nobody cares.
There you go. So
Igor. Frodrick.
So they find the secret lab, and Frederick decides he's going to resume his grandfather's experiments in reanimating the dead.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
It could work.
Yep. So he and Igor steal the corpse of a recently executed criminal who's like, they need to get a large body. So they need somebody that's like big for this experiment to work. 7 foot, whatever.
He would have an enormous Schwanstucker.
Just trying to get Melanie to laugh. Schwanstucker.
He's going to be very popular.
I'm going to isolate her laugh and just make it louder each time.
That's like the laugh track.
I'll do the echo effect for it. But yeah, so now here's the rub. We have Igor is sent to steal the brain. We have Igor is sent to steal the brain of a deceased revered historian, Hans Delbruck. Apparently a real person. I didn't know this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, lightning, because it's Transylvania, goes off and he sees his own reflection. And I can relate to this. And he gets scared. And he drops the brain. Now, I can sympathize. I can empathize.
You'd think he could go back and say, Doc, I had a bad moment. I'm sorry. This is what happened.
Does the brain actually like shatter too? Or?
Oh, yeah. It shatters.
Mm-hmm.
You actually see it on the ground. It's like broken apart. And you're like, oh.
Oh.
And he's like, well, there's another brain right here.
So it's labeled as abnormal.
But what does he say it's labeled as? Just normal? Or?
No, it's like
Abby
You want to tell me
Normal.
whose brain you did put in?
Abby Normal.
Abby someone. I can't. It's just it.
Abby
That's another
Normal.
one that's just
Yeah.
iconic. Back and forth.
So they put the brain in the new monster, and Frederick is ready to reanimate him, and eventually,
That's a great scene where they actually bring the monster up and the lightning, and he's got that.
Yeah.
That's where Gene Wilder sells them. I mean, to me, that's not a Mel Brooks movie.
I don't know.
Like, that is Gene Wilder's contribution to that movie. Mel Brooks couldn't do that. Mel Brooks could not pull that scene off. Like, if he was the star of the movie.
It's a perfect example of having the right director, the right script, and the right actor
Yes.
to marinate all those three things together and create a product.
And again, one of the things that makes this movie not all different from other Mel Brooks movies, but somewhat different, is that Gene Wilder helped write the script.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not strictly just Mel Brooks. And so that's why I think some of it works differently than other films.
I agree. But so they eventually managed to reanimate the monster, and he takes his first steps. But then
he goes a little nutty.
Gosh darn Igor.
Yeah.
This is a family friendly.
Oh, and then we get the starts choking him. And he starts doing charades. 2 words sounds like give. Said a give.
I feel like if I was ever being attacked by somebody, this is how it would happen with the two of you.
Sounds like.
Sounds like.
Sounds like.
Oh, he's dead.
Pretty much, because I suck at charades.
Should have done Pictionary.
Did he lift up one finger for 1 word, or 2 fingers for 2 words? I don't know.
Can we start over?
That's your middle finger, Paul. It doesn't work like that.
Can we play Cards Against Humanity? I'm way better at that. But, yeah.
That would happen. I actually will admit that. Do never rely on me for charades if your life is
I get
in
hit over
danger.
the head with a PlayStation 20, and just that's what I get buried
And
with.
that's it.
See, that's a circle.
Now I know what to get you guys for your wedding.
PlayStation 20
I'm just gonna buy you another PlayStation 5, but on the box, I'm just gonna
write
cross out
20.
the 5 and just write 20.
times 4 in parentheses.
Times 4 equals 20.
No big deal, guys. But Sean got us the wedding present.
I went
Takes
into
it,
the
hits me over
future
Dang
and
it.
got you guys this.
You know, it'd be really cool as a gift if somebody got the Gray Sports Almanac.
That would be cool.
I saw Sean light
That
up
would be
with that
cool.
one. He was like, "Oh my god!"
That would be awesome.
If you want to hear more about that, we have our Back to the Future episode. You can look through it on Podbean.
That's one of our firsts.
That is one of our first. So, the monster gets scared, so they actually end up sedating him, and unaware of the creature's existence, the town people gather to discuss that. They don't like Frederick's there, and they assume already that he's continuing the
It's
work.
very similar to the old monster movies. Whenever you had a sequel, they did it in Son of Frankenstein. Oh, another Frankenstein in our village? Oh, he's going to make a monster. That's basically. So that was a good little nod back to the old movies.
Any fun facts that you want to add, Melanie, to the...
Not yet. Nope.
No, you're saving them all?
No, I'm just waiting for a fun one.
Oh, okay, just wait for a fun one. All right, got
Some of
it.
them are just facts.
Some of them are just facts.
They're not fun.
They're missing the key element there.
Yeah.
And we get our first introduction to Inspector Kemp.
Yes.
Who is a perfect spoof of the inspector from Son of Frankenstein, as I said, that had one arm missing.
Yep, and the German accent too thick for anybody to understand him.
Following in his grandfather's footsteps. What?
Yeah.
Footsteps.
Yeah. So he goes to visit the doctor. Or does he go yet? Or
Notice he's knocking on the door after they sedate the monster. He's
Yeah.
knocking on the door with his arm.
Tink. But it ends up being one of my favorite scenes. The darts when he starts tossing them, and you hear Mel Brooks do the cat voice, and
Yeah.
then when it cuts to the outside, you see all the darts on the outside.
Because
of the car.
he's like, every time Gene Wilder's about to throw a dart, he's like, monster or Frankenstein, and he throws the dart backwards. You hear the cat.
Yeah, it's so good.
And then you see Kenneth Mars' reaction. He's like, where are these darts going? I don't know where they're going to end up.
I still love it though when like they cut to the car
And all the
darts are in the
Like,
tires
he
flat.
obviously did not throw that many darts, but it still works.
It still works. So returning to the lab, Frederick discovers that Blucher set the creature free. She reveals
Rita.
Yeah. So she reveals the monster's love of the violin music and her own romantic relationship with
But
Frederick's grandfather.
Then you get the great line. It's like, he was my boyfriend.
It can't. You're like a 5-year-old in a candy shop right now.
I am. I love it.
Just having the best time. So, yeah. The creature is enraged by sparks, though, from a thrown switch, and he escapes the castle. He's like, oh no, fire. That's a common thing in the Frankenstein lore. Fire bad. So he roams the countryside, and first he encounters a young girl. And which is a clear spoof on the original story.
Yeah.
Where he sometimes they show it where he finds like, oh, the little girl's nice to me. I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
Other times he breaks her neck.
Wow.
Sometimes on purpose, sometimes by
you
accident.
get in the original movie, he meets the little girl. They're throwing flowers into the water, and he runs out of flowers, and he doesn't know any better, so he thinks the girl. So the girl will float. Throws the girl in, and sadly she drowns.
You'll float too.
So they basically are copying that scene where the girl's throwing flowers into I don't know what it was,
like a well. Or
a well,
yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, nothing left. What should we throw in now?" And then you get that great shot of Peter Boyle just looking at the camera, going like,
I do enjoy the seesaw though. I told Melanie one day that's how we're gonna put our kids to sleep.
Right. You got a good aim.
Or they just need to learn how
Make
to...
sure the window's open.
Helmets?
Bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap, yes.
Bubble wrap never goes wrong.
Bubble boy? Bubblebee tuna?
Bubble boy is a little too much. Bubble wrap, I can...
Bubblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna?
Yeah, that's another good movie. But anyway, so he also meets one of the funnier scenes, the blind hermit. Yeah, so...
That's
just perfect physical comedy.
This is where the physical comedy comes in. Just the
soup and
the soup on the crotch, lighting the thumb on fire. When they go to Cheers, he breaks the monster's glass.
He's so sad.
But it's and I don't know. I don't know if people knew that was Gene Hackman. Seeing that for the first time because
she was waiting for it when we were watching it. You were like, Gene Hackman's in this movie. I was like, yeah. Where?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, now it's one of the most famous cameos. If you even consider it a cameo. Cameo is not a...
I consider it a cameo. It's a one scene.
One scene. I don't know. Cameo to me more means it's like an actor playing himself in a way, but I guess not.
Or it's Jean-Claude Van Damme in the background of a dancing scene.
That was funny.
Yeah. Thank you, Melanie, for that.
He's got moves.
Breaking 2.
Breaking 2. That's going to be...
Electric Boogaloo, I think it's called.
We're going to have to do a dance month.
God, I know that movie.
Dance movie month? Yeah.
No, let's not.
Talk about Center Stage.
Stomp the Yard.
Center Stage, yeah.
Save the Last Dance. So then Frederick manages to recapture the monster, and it's at this time he embraces that he is Frankenstein.
That's a great moment.
Yeah, and he's able to...
Hello, handsome. You're looking good today.
Thank you. Oh, I thought
You're
you were
welcome.
talking about...
It was directed at you.
I thought you were just pointing in my general direction.
Well, there's not many other directions I can point in.
Well, the way you're sitting, yeah. So... my therapist and I are going to have a lot to talk about this week.
But I thought he was talking about the cat.
The cat's not even up here. Oh.
I looked over by the stairs.
I thought the cat opened the door, walked in. It's like a raptor from Jurassic Park. But
keep out of the long grass.
Yeah. So he manages to class the monster up.
Oh, yeah.
And
I want to know how much time was between that and then the final.
I'd say a few weeks. But
he's a good learner.
Oh, yeah, very good learner. And he cleans up quite well. So at a demonstration, they introduce the creature, and now he's wearing a top hat and tuxedo, and they do a lovely musical number to the song Puttin' on the Ritz.
So now we've talked in the previous 2 episodes how Mel Brooks is a big fan of Broadway, and usually in all his movies he'll have one of those moments. Funny story, though. This scene, the Puttin' on the Ritz, was not Mel Brooks' idea. He actually did not like that idea. It was Gene Wilder's idea.
Oh, wow.
So I always found that interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I like that.
And they apparently, that was the one fight they had during the entire production of the movie. And it got heated.
Yeah.
And then finally Mel Brooks was like, okay, fine, it's in. And Gene Wilder was like, why all of a sudden did you do this? I wanted to see how much you fought for it. Because if you truly fought for it, then I know you thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
I respect
I was
it.
like, because at first Mel Brooks was like, that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. You're going to want to sing Puttin' on the Ritz?
It's a great song. But unfortunately, a light malfunctions and scares
the monster.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes a little nutty.
No, just a little.
Just a tad.
Charges into the audience, and he's captured by the police.
Yeah.
Great response time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were all there.
And they all managed to lift him up. That was very impressive.
Yeah.
Real quick, when I watched it the other day, right before before they introduced Frederick and the monster come out on the stage, you see in the back of the theater all the police inspectors with Kemp in the middle.
Yeah.
And he's got his hand, he's got the fake hand up because I get, and I never noticed it, but there's a guy next to him that literally takes his hand and just pulls it down because he's blocking his vision of the show. And you see him do that. And I just was like, I've never seen that before. That was funny.
That's really funny. So back at the laboratory, Inga attempts to comfort Frederick. And, of course, they wind up having a roll in the hay in the laboratory.
They were having a very interesting scientific discussion.
Yeah. And, of course, that's when Elizabeth shows up.
Oh, when Frau Blucher comes in and gives him the note saying, your fiance will be here any second. I suggest you put on a tie.
Yes. That was one of the quotes that we got today.
Yes, it was by, I believe, Rob.
We'll talk about that at the end of the episode. So the monster does manage to escape, and he captures Elizabeth as he's fleeing. And this is a direct quote, Elizabeth falls in love with the creature due to his enormous Schwanstucker. So, a little Revenge of the Nerdsy. Yeah. So, apparently, if you're...
woof. I just love that. Natalie Kahn just...
If you are a put-together corpse with an abnormal brain and you're 7 foot and 290 pounds...
Usually means other things are pretty good.
Proportionate.
Like I said, he's going to be very popular.
It's a tripod.
You're a tripod.
There you go.
You could use it as a kickstand.
There you go. Okay, all right. Here we go. Sometimes you just got to quote the right movie to get all of us going.
Yep.
Austin Powers is going to be even worse when we do it.
Oh, God. We're never going to... That's going to be like a 2-hour episode.
I say we do a podcast episode where we can just see who can keep quoting movies. Kind of like a Whose Line Is It Anyway kind of skit.
Try to make it like a conversation.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah,
That'd be like
that. That's interesting.
Take a drink every time
really
you mess
fun.
it up. Yeah.
That'd be fun to do on like a Facebook Live kind of thing.
That would be a lot of fun to do.
Or Instagram Live.
Oh, yeah. Or on Instagram Live, you could find Bibliophiles Assemble or the Misfit Faction.
Or both.
And both.
Find and follow.
Like,
follow
comment,
and
subscribe. But so the townspeople hunt for the monster, and to get the creature back, Frederick uses the violin to lure him back.
The longest walk of the villagers. I think it felt like it forever took them to get from their village to the castle.
Yeah, I thought I was watching Lord of the Rings.
Because basically in the time it takes them to get to the castle, that's when the monster abducts Elizabeth. They have their thing going for about 7 times, and then he goes all the way back to the castle. And they do the operation, and then the villagers show up. So that's a hike.
That is a hike. I mean, Mel
Brooks
really
could have split that up into 3 movies and made a lot more money.
Yep. Yeah, and then the Eagles could have landed and saved everyone. But anyway, so they're able to put part of Frankenstein's brain into the monster, and it stabilizes him so that he's able to communicate with the mob. And he's like, "Hey, let my friend go." I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty close.
No, it's pretty close.
Now, Elizabeth, with her hairstyle from the female creature of Bride of Frankenstein, she leaves Frederick and marries the monster. And Inga marries
Frankenstein.
Frederick. And they, she asks what he got in the transfer, and he kind of growls wordlessly, and
the sweet mystery of life for the second time, because Elizabeth sings that after the monster first starts,
Yeah, if that ever happened during an intimate moment, I don't know. I'd still probably be down. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, and that is...
who's going to play the violin or anything? Like, who's going to do the background
Ronnie,
music?
get out of our backyard.
Yeah, sorry. There's some things I won't do. That's a little weird.
That would be Ronnie.
I know. I'm glad you went there, because if you went to me, I would have been like, I'm not that weird. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, that'd be Ronnie, though.
Right outside the window.
That's your bachelor party. It's just Ronnie outside playing the violin.
Well, he married you. Just adds to his further list of things he can do.
When we add our third podcast, he's also a Chippendale State.
Oh.
But when we do our third podcast eventually, we're gonna have to do an entire episode on the trials and tribulations of Misfits getting married. Yeah.
A day in the life of a misfit.
A day in the life of a misfit. Because we're all a couple of misfits. But that is Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Any highlights, any fun facts, anything that somebody wants to say besides me?
Melanie, got any fun facts or anything?
I do, actually. So, we talked a lot about... that was my shoulder. We talked a
love
lot
that
about how in 3 of Mel Brooks's movies, how he has the walk this way gag. So the fun fact about that is Aerosmith's song Walk This Way was inspired from this movie when they had Walk This Way. It was the first one, right, we talked about? It was the first Walk This Way gag?
This was the first one.
This was
They
the
didn't
first one?
they didn't do it in Blazing Saddles.
Okay. So, in 1974, this was put in the movie. This scene was put in the movie as a joke, and Aerosmith used it as inspiration for one of the biggest hits that
they ever did, yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
That is
which
actually
ended up being remixed with Run DMC in the 80s. So
still good, so good.
So good.
Both of
right?
them are great.
Yeah.
Both of them are great.
I even like Run DMC's Ghostbusters theme for Ghostbusters 2. I dig it. Any other fun facts that we want to do, or?
I don't have any fun facts about the movie. I mean, it's, again, as we said at the beginning, this is tops on many's list of greatest, not just greatest Mel Brooks movies, but greatest comedies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So in rewatching it a couple days ago, I just, again, it's I just marvel at the subtlety of the jokes in this movie. It's not over the top. It's not in your face, humor. It's just very, again, he walks that line of this could be both.
Well, he walks this way.
There you go. I mean, there are moments in this which are not, scary, but they're atmospheric. Mm. He does a very good. He did it in Dracula Dead and Loving It too. I think that doesn't get as much recognition. Where there are moments where you're like, oh, this could actually be in a actual Dracula film, or this could be in an actual Frankenstein film. So I think this definitely goes down as Mel Brooks' best put together movie in terms of everything: musical score, cinematography, sets, cast. All around, I think it might be his best film, in my opinion. He actually doesn't believe it's his funniest film.
Really?
No, he said that it's his. I think it's his most profitable film, but he doesn't believe it's his funniest film. But he didn't go out. He didn't say what he thinks his funniest film is.
Well, I know Gene Wilder has said that this is one of his favorite performances.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, in 2016, fun fact, get ready for it.
Hit me.
Mel Brooks considers this movie to be the best film that he's ever directed, but he rates it number 3 amongst his funniest after Blazing Saddles and The Producers.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, see.
So there is a little.
Have you guys ever seen The Producers, the original?
No.
I have not. No.
Highly
Add
recommend
that to the
it.
Fun
list.
movie night.
It's not again. It's not a you walk into that movie and it's not what you're used to with Mel Brooks movies, but it's so funny. And then obviously Blazing Saddles is Blazing Saddles. I mean,
it is Blazing Saddles.
It's funny, I just, again, as we said, to have 2 just classic comedies in the same year. I mean, you can't do that anymore. First of all, you can't make 2 movies in the same year. It is very hard to do that.
Oh yeah. I bet.
Just not even. I'm not even talking about what's going on, obviously, in the world right now. I'm just saying within the last couple of years, it is rare if you get a movie directed by the same director coming out in twice in the same calendar year. So, again, the fact that he was able to get both those movies out same year is just wow.
Yeah, it's a man. I love that guy. But is that going to wrap us up on discussion?
I think, unless you got anything to add, sir.
Nope.
Well,
but I am going to turn over to our Facebook really quick, if that's okay.
Go for it.
So a new thing that we've done it before, but this Friday, day of recording, we did a fan feedback Friday on Facebook, and we had some fun responses. The question we put out was, what's a random line from a movie that you say all the time? So
you're gonna read them, or you want?
I'll read them. I got them all here. I'm not gonna say who said them because you have to check the post to see that. Some of them I will do in voices for those which ones I do know. But we have fun storming the castle. Was that all right?
That was
good.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Could be worse. Could be writing. Garbage day. Shenanigans. Hakuna Matata. I
Means
suggest
no worries.
Oh, that's right. I suggest you put on a tie. It's good to be the king. I was that close. I touched it. God, heaven forgive me. I want to build something that's going to outlive me. It's not a tumor. Yeah, so we had some fun with this one. I thoroughly enjoyed the...
every now and then you get that good question that'll spark a lot of answers.
Just a lot of discussion, you know? And like we all do it too. Like I can't even say how many times in our household you hear a random movie line.
Well, I mean, I posted, I'm not going to lie, I posted the It Could Be Worse, It Could Be Raining from this movie, Young Frankenstein, because that is just to me one of the funniest moments where it's like, it can't get any worse. It could be raining. So anytime you walk outside or something crappy's happening in your life and you just, could be worse, it could be raining.
Fun fact, Sean said that to me on our wedding day. Not me and Sean, my wedding day. Yeah. Sean actually said that. It could be worse. It could be raining.
I did say that?
Yeah, because it had just stopped raining.
It just stopped raining.
Oh, okay. Was that after, we found out everything?
The debacle?
Yeah, no, that was after the debacle.
Because you were trying to
make me feel a little bit better. Yeah, one day we'll have to do a whole episode on that one.
Hey,
I don't think I would have said that to Melody because I feel like Melody would have just punched me right in the face probably.
If you'd maybe put a bottle of Jack Daniels on the floor as an offering and then backed away.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Roll it back. Let's rewind a bit. One, I don't drink Jack Daniels.
Not Dak Daniels.
Oh my God. I don't drink Jack Daniels like that. And two, I've never punched anybody in the face.
But that's
Fun fact
a
about myself.
situation, though.
However,
emotionally, she would punch.
I wouldn't have known the reference because I didn't watch Young Frankenstein. For God, see all of this.
It's all Paul's fault.
All of this back and forth.
Over there with her wine.
I am not drinking wine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not wine.
That's not wine.
No, it's not.
Is it margarita?
What?
But
anyway,
yep.
It's a story to share amongst friends in the future. So definitely.
Can't wait to go back to the future.
Oh,
God. Well, why don't you tell people how they can, get in touch with us, Paul?
Do they want to anymore? Do they want to?
Apparently they do. Our downloads are going up.
Yes.
I mean, we're not on multiverse.
Awesome.
We're not on multiverse fancast level. I mean, you guys are on your way to superstardom.
Yeah. Well, they got a few years under their belt, so you guys are doing pretty good.
They had a 2-year break, though.
We did have a 2-year break. It's shocking.
This is true.
But so the best way to reach us, guys, you can find us at our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you can find links to all the content that we do, including articles that we review weekly, links to all of our podcasts, all of our social media, including on Instagram. You can find Melanie at Bibliophiles Assemble. I believe she has almost 800 followers on Instagram.
Whoop, whoop.
She's going to confirm that because you're just going to confirm that.
I am going to confirm.
801.
$7.95, guys. So if you can get me to 800 by next week, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. You can also find our main Instagram, which is the Misfit Faction. It has 55 people following, so we're taking cues from her. But you can find our YouTube channel, you can find our Twitter, you can find links to all of our different podcast sites and apps and all that stuff. And you can also there's a suggestion box. There's a way to contact us on the website if you have ideas or suggestions.
Not saying we're actually going to listen to the suggestions though, but
please write to us. I'm very lonely. But
we read them. We read everything.
We read everything, and the easiest way.
And we're actually up to 56 on the Misfit Faction Instagram page.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. Whoever's listening right now. Yeah, whoever's listening right now. And you can find us both on Facebook. You can find the Misfit Faction on Facebook, Cinematic Adventures, and our sister podcast, the Multiverse Fancast.
You do that so well. I give you a lot of props. I can never remember all that.
Every day I have to post.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a lot more work than I originally anticipated, but it's a lot of fun. The memes alone.
Go rewind back to hey, you want to start a podcast? Paul, are you sure? Yeah, how hard is it going to be?
For the record,
it's a lot of fun, though.
When we first started doing it, we didn't do any editing. We barely did any promotion.
Oh, you talking about when you and Ronnie first started?
Ronnie and I first started,
that was just,
It was simpler times.
Yeah, but I think you guys were doing it more for fun than you were thinking of an actual career,
network, yeah.
But this has been fun, as always.
Yes, it is. And I think we got, Blazing Saddles next week?
Yeah, I think we've decided that Blazing Saddles might be our...
Oh my God, I totally forgot to mention, we have a bonus episode coming up this month.
We do?
We do. We plan out our months in advance, but every once in a while we want to throw a little extra nugget your way, guys.
You got...
we are going to do a review of Mortal Kombat when it comes out. I believe. Oh my god.
April.
That is the one.
That is the month.
That is the month.
It's another month that starts with A.
Yeah, April 28th, I believe. So,
end of the month.
At the end of the month, we're going to throw a bonus episode into the mix. So you might see a Wednesday.
We are busy.
Yeah, but you know what? It's also fun that movies are coming.
Well, that's the
out.
key.
Yeah.
You know, again, and that's our goal is to, you know, yes, we love doing retro reviews, but we want to do reviews of new movies that are coming out. We want movies to be coming out. We want to go back to the theaters on a regular basis and see these movies. We want to see, you know, what Hollywood has to give us. And we are still going to do retro reviews once the new movies start coming out, but obviously at a lower rate. You know,
I think we'll probably still do our monthly themes, but just the entire month will be, or it might even revolve around it. Like,
it also depends on what's coming out.
For Space Jam, I think that's why we're doing Sports Month around the same time. Oh, Sean just had an aneurysm. Sean's not looking forward to Space Jam.
I'm indifferent.
Ready Player Space Jam, it's actually called.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think it's really awesome that the movies are opening up and you can have the full experience. You know, it's one thing to watch something at home when it's getting released on HBO Max or Netflix or whatever the case may be. But to physically go to the movies and to have the surround sound and the people and just to feel the energy, to get the popcorn.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it with butter this past time we went, so that was a little upsetting. But you know, we'll get there eventually. So it's just really awesome to be able to have that experience.
It is, and the HBO Max aspect to it to me is a little I don't think it's going to continue. I want to say Mortal Kombat might be the last one. No?
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad? Okay, I thought I read
for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year.
Every movie this year for that HBO Max.
So that was a you know, obviously that was meant to, you know, for the people that were not comfortable going back out to the theater. But I know it was other reasons why you can watch them on HBO Max. But you want to give to these movies because I mean there are so many people working their butts off to get these movies out.
I don't want to give $30 to Disney Plus though for Black Widow.
I agree.
We'll go to the theater.
I am not upset at that decision, and
I understand why.
I'll defend it.
But
I'll defend it because again, you're going to spend that much money going to the theater anyway, especially if you're with more than one person.
But I get popcorn. And
yeah, that's another like $10.
Paying for two people.
It's different though.
I get that. Trust me, I get it. But you have to also look at, you know, again, they got to make their money back on these movies. All right. Well, that's a conversation for another time. But as always, guys, thank you for everything, and we're looking forward to next week. As always, I'm Sean.
And I'm Paul.
And I'm Melanie.
Have a good one. Puka!